Do good work is not a label, but a way of living. It is the constant and diligent effort to achieve a new level of excellence in one's own life. It is the hidden inner beauty behind the struggle to achieve excellence. It's not perfect, but imperfect. It is the effort, discipline, and focus that often goes unnoticed. The goal of Do Good Work is to highlight that drive. The guests I have on this show emulate this drive in their own special way. You'll be able to apply new ideas into your own life by learning from them. We will also have one-on-one episodes with me where we'll dive into my own experience with entrepreneurship and leadership. Every episode is designed to provide you with ideas that you can apply and grow in excellence in all areas of your life, business, and career. Today, I want to talk about your brand and how to keep it in check and how to keep it balanced as you add new services or products to your business, so growing externally, or as you add new team members and hiring or coaches or sub-coaches within your company, so growing internally. So what is a brand? If you're watching this, you know already that a brand isn't just your logo, your name, your slogan. The brand that you create is the feeling that your customers, vendors, team members, community has when they do or have an interaction with you, or a transaction or an engagement with you. That feeling that you help them get, that initial feeling, that's your brand. When they think about you, when they talk about you, when they work with you, how you make them feel is your brand. Now, if you're creating new products or services, you want to make sure that depending on the feeling that you have with the industry or with your market, that it's aligned in how the new product or service is going to make them feel. Here's a realistic example. So I have a client who works with top tier clients in the industry. So yeah, they're a client that works with clients, right? But they work with top tier clients in the industry. And if they're working with kind of like an exclusive play, because if for a customer, as a customer, if I work with this company, then I'm like part of this elite tribe, because not everyone can work with this company because the fees aren't very cheap, but also because it's almost exclusive to be part of this company. It's almost an honor to work with this company almost, right? That's kind of like the internal play. People don't really say it that way, but that's the internal feeling, the emotion that is struck when you have an exclusive play, when you have a high, not a luxury play, but some luxury plays do this. Like when you go to the Ritz-Carlton or you go to like the Four Seasons hotels, right? You go there to stroke that ego. But specifically, when you're working with this company, right, they have services that cater to that level of client. However, if that company wants to work with entry-level businesses, with businesses who don't have a lot to spend, or who don't have a high budgets all over across the board, they have to reconsider, should this still be tied with the current brand and the image and the feeling that we evoke with our customers? Because if we do that, then we might damage the brand, and it might not make sense to have the one name as an umbrella company for both high-end clients as well as entry-level clients. So if you're going to do a new product or service in your business, you want to keep in mind, does this align with the current feelings that my customers have? Should I create a sub-brand or a different brand where it's owned by the parent company, but have another team work on that specifically so that I can continue to gain market share, but also keep the integrity of the larger brand and keep this new brand separate so that the customers that work with this brand, we can create different relationships, we can create a different culture, we can create a different engagement. So that's something to think about, to keep your brand in balance when you're creating new products or services. As you're hiring internally, one of the key questions that I've had come across me from a client was, how do I keep the integrity of my brand if I'm hiring sub-coaches or people under me to work and represent my brand? Now, that's a tough question to really answer in one silver bullet. However, the thing to think about and the thing to look at is, how are you including training and culture and accountability across the team members that you hire? Because if they're going to represent you across your important clients, across your marketing, and on stages or in speaking events, how are you going to be able to hold them accountable to keep and represent the brand in how it is? Because you don't always have 100% control. Because when you're working with other humans, you want to make sure that you can't just like hold them tight by the neck, because there has to be some balance and control, but you also have to understand you have to let go of some quote unquote quality. And if you're listening to this and you disagree with that, please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but I don't believe that you can have 100% control when you're giving someone else the onus to represent you as a brand, because they might have a slip up. They might post something on social media differently than you would. They might, even if you have these rules and regulations, how they're supposed to show up, how they're supposed to dress, how they're supposed to speak to the market. I just want to make sure that, I've seen big companies do that well, but I just want to make sure, like, if for our small companies, for small businesses that are growing, it's very hard to keep 100% accountability of that sub team. But if you do that, you want to make sure that you include ownership in regards to not the company, but ownership in their decisions, ownerships in how they represent the brand, ownership in how they go and execute and work with the customers or your clients or the marketplace, as they represent you. And again, it goes back to the simple 3: accountability, transparency between both sides, and expectations. And that's all through your job requirements, your expectations, the way that you communicate. And ultimately, it does come down to that communication, because a breakdown in operations is a breakdown in communication. Communication is the easiest thing between humans, but it also can be the hardest thing between humans, because remote gaps, talking over Zoom, not person to person. It could be cultural gaps. It could be understanding different age demographic gaps. It can also be misunderstandings where one person says one thing and the other person hears another thing. However, they both believe that they're communicating together. So when you're communicating to your team internally, to not go off in a huge tangent, right? When you're communicating to your team internally and helping to keep the integrity of the brand within, you just have to make sure you keep accountability, transparency, and making sure that there is clear communications on both sides as you grow the brand. And not every single business is geared up to to do this, to grow internally, to have sub coaches or different people representing, or different leaders or management teams representing the brand. But if you are, you have to make sure that you give them ownership in their decisions, you give them ownership and some flexibility. And also, as a leader, you need to understand that, we're imperfect humans working with other imperfect humans. There is going to be an error or a slip here or there. So how are you able to, one, mitigate that risk, and two, plan for what you're going to do if an error happens? So I know that's a little bit more than just, the brand play. However, I do truly believe that when you're growing your company and you're keeping your brand in balance, you need to make sure that you understand both the internals and the externals so that you can keep the positive customer satisfaction, the positive customer feeling, because that's what's going to drive your profits and is what's going to drive you to continue to grow. We'll see you on the next one.